But first, seething but no longer silent. President Trump goes on a Twitter tirade in response to the 3-year prison sentence for his former fixer and attorney, Michael Cohen. Trump has told associates Cohen is a liar. And on Twitter today, the president said he never directed Michael Cohen to break the law. CNN White House reporter Jeremy Diamond joining us on this story. And Jeremy, in addition to the Cohen sentencing, there's the deal that federal prosecutors struck with the parent company of the National Enquirer. What's the president's strategy here as more of his friends flip and cooperate with investigators?
Well, Brianna, if the president's response to Michael Cohen flipping on him is any indication, then certainly that strategy is to attack and to deflect blame. In recent months, we've heard the president talk about Michael Cohen as weak. We've heard him call him a liar. And today we saw him deflecting blame, essentially saying that he never directed Michael Cohen to do anything illegal. But what, of course, is notable there is that the president isn't denying that he directed Michael Cohen to make these payments. Of course, he can't anymore. We have him on tape discussing these payments with Michael Cohen. And we also now have this non-prosecution agreement with AMI, the parent company of the National Enquirer, both of those implicating the president in this felony campaign finance violation to which Michael Cohen has now pleaded guilty to. But we have more from the president now. Just moments ago in an interview with Fox News, the president struck out at Michael Cohen once again.
They put that on to embarrass me. They put those 2 charges on to embarrass me. They're not criminal charges. What happened is either Cohen or the prosecutors, in order to embarrass me, said, listen, I'm making this deal for reduced time and everything else. Do me a favor, put these 2 charges on.
We have also seen the president, of course, beyond simply blaming people who have flipped on him like Michael Cohen and going after them, attacking them. We have also seen him offer the carrot to the individuals who have not flipped on him, praising people like Paul Manafort, for example, Roger Stone. That's been the strategy from the president. And beyond that, of course, it's been about the buck stops anywhere but with the president. That is something that the president has made clear in this incident, but also, of course, anytime that blame or anything wrong is pointed in his direction. Brianna?
All right, Jeremy Diamond at the White House, thank you. I want to bring in now former DOJ prosecutor Joseph Marino. Joe, I want to get your reaction to something that the president tweeted. He said, I never directed Michael Cohen to break the law. He was a lawyer and he is supposed to know the law. It is called advice of counsel, and a lawyer has great liability if a mistake is made. That is why they get paid. Does that hold water?
Well, I mean, this has been bubbling for a couple of days, and so we've kind of read between the tea lines of the tweets. This is where the defense was going, and sure enough, now it's explicit, right? Advice of counsel is a defense if, in fact, you can say you relied on legal advice to do certain things, and therefore I should not have criminal exposure because I relied on my lawyer who knew better, right? Now, a lot of things go into whether or not that's a legitimate defense, who knew what, who was warned, how involved was the president. I mean, he's clearly, you're right, beyond denying he directed these payments. I mean, that seems to be locked in by the evidence now. So whether or not he can thread this needle, that's going to be, no doubt, front and center in any kind of defense if this goes anywhere.
There's debate still over whether a president can be indicted. DOJ guidance is that they can't, but you have Congressman Adam Schiff who says, you know, this is something that the DOJ needs to revisit. Let's listen.
I think the Justice Department needs to re-examine that OLC opinion, Office of Legal Counsel opinion, that you cannot indict a sitting president. I don't think that the Justice Department ought to take the position, and it's certainly not one that would be required in any way by the Constitution, that a president merely by being in office can be above the law, can escape the enforcement of the law by essentially waiting out the law, by waiting out the statute of limitations.
And yesterday on this program, we had former White House counsel under Bill Clinton, Jack Quinn, who said he didn't think it would stand up in court if someone challenged this OLC guidance. What do you think about what Adam Schiff is saying?
Well, I get his points, but I'll say this first. I hate the term constitutional crisis. I think that term is used far too much in this town anytime there's any kind of issue. However, if you tried to indict and prosecute a sitting president, you would in fact have a constitutional crisis on your hands. You would throw the Justice Department into disarray. You would paralyze the presidency. So the idea is not to have anyone get away with anything, and the idea is there should be some mechanism. So you shouldn't be able to use the presidency as a shield against criminal exposure. So something definitely has to be done, but in terms of just indicting a president, look, we have an impeachment clause. It's worked. We've seen it work with Bill Clinton. Obviously, he wasn't removed, but the process works for addressing wrongdoing by a president. Trying to indict a president would be extremely, extremely difficult.